In this video, I'm giving everything away to decrease your cancellation rate, decrease your no-shows, and increase your show rate to 70, 80, and even 90%. We're going to cover call positioning, a few non-ordinary ways of actually doing call follow-ups, and even some ways that no one in the market shows of how you actually get people to show up to your call. In a 3-step process, I'll be giving everything away that we use to hit an 84% show up rate at a 300K per month coaching company. And I'm going to be giving away everything from the actual process to the scripts so that you can implement it in your own business in order to lower your cancellation rate, lower your no-shows, increase your show up rate, and be able to scale to 50, 100, 200K per month as a result. So the number one thing that you need to understand is the actual value of the call that you're providing to your market. This is something that I'm just going to take straight from Alex Hormozi and his $100 million offer book. But here we're not going to be talking about the actual offer itself. Obviously your main offer matters, but the call offer where you're offering the call itself, that's what matters even more when you're booking someone onto a call. So they need to understand how this call is actually going to benefit them so that it outweighs all these other activities. Your prospects don't understand how the call is actually going to benefit them, this call with you, and how it's going to outweigh, going to dinner, going out with your friends, going to the gym, watching some Netflix, watching some movies. If they don't understand the value ladder here, how this call is going to benefit them more, they're not going to show up or they're going to cancel. That's naturally how people cancel calls. They go out to a dinner, I can't make this. They have some non-emergency event come up, and to them that event is more important than the call with you because they don't have that perceived value of how that call is going to help them. So you need to follow the value equation that Hormozi himself created, right? So the dream outcome times the perceived likelihood of them being able to actually achieve what they're set out to achieve by getting on your call. So how is your call going to help them do that? Divided by time delay plus the efforts and sacrifice. So your call offer needs to be positioned so that the people see that if they jump onto this call with you, they're this value ladder, right? What they're going to get, the reward they're going to get is going to be very easy to achieve. They're going to get like an instant reward just by getting on that call with you. That all depends on how you actually market your call before they even jump on, right? You have to market it and position it so that, again, it outweighs all these other activities when they're considering canceling or showing up to their call. When the perceived value is higher of them showing up to their call, the benefits they're going to get, then all these other activities, the prospect has no reason. You make it unreasonable for them not to show up. When you have this value call stacked offer, this is how you put it into a message, right? So awesome. To be honest, we can have a more in-depth chat over the phone so that I can give you a few actionable steps on how to lose XKG as soon as possible without having to rely on any X mechanism. So with this, you need to give them FOMO. So another thing you can do is add this into your call messages, and you need to customize for your actual offer for whatever you're selling, whether it's a B2B offer or a B2C offer, right? And this is something you can add below your call offer, or you can literally plug this into your call offer when you're doing it. So this is something you implement in the vicinity of the call. This is the script. Based on our data reports, we found that people who come to the actual call and implement the actual steps we give them, we're able to get XYZ. And then XYZ is whatever outcome someone is looking for when they're coming to the call with you. So that could be 1 more hour of sleep every night if you're like a sleep coach, right? 2 more productive hours during the day if you're a productivity coach. A 7% increase in closing percentage if you're a sales agency. Please make your sound believable. This is very important. So don't throw out some crazy number. Don't say they're going to get like a 30% closing percentage increase just by showing up to their call. It needs to be a believable number, but you can use stats here to actually make it look like you know what you're talking about, and again, give them FOMO. So now when they're considering this kind of value ladder and they're considering this scale when it comes to the call with you, they're going to be like, is a 7% closing rate increase in my business going to get me, a better life than me going out for like a drink right now? So once you actually get them into the call, you start following a 72-hour hybrid follow-up process. This is the best follow-up process in my opinion. It's basically using multi-channels to actually follow up with them and break through to them, but also not annoying them. That's a very important thing because you can spam follow-ups and then that just turns people off, and obviously they're not going to show up to the call. Before you ever send sales assets, after you book someone or before you book someone on a call, make sure to ask them for their permission and make it seem to them like it was their idea to actually get those sales assets. Because what this is going to do is now, if it's their idea to receive a free training from you that they need to watch before the call, right? Free content that they need to watch before the call that's going to pre-frame them for the call. If they think it's their idea, they're a lot more likely to actually consume it, because if they don't, they're going to have cognitive dissonance. When you actually book calls, and I always suggest pitching times when you're booking a call, pitching times for the following day. So don't have these huge delays between your time of booking and when they actually show up to the call. Don't have 5 days in between, because the longer the time passes, even if you have a nurturing sequence and you have these follow-ups, the lower is going to be your show-up rate and the higher is going to be, your no-shows and your cancellation rate. Now, when you do book someone, obviously you need the email confirmation. From here, you send sales assets. So this is what we're talking about here. When they give you permission, send these sales assets. These need to be related to the prospect's pain point. That's why you ask them this question right here. This is how you pitch the actual sales assets. All right, Naeem, that's all you booked in now. Now, the only thing we ask in return for the free consultation call is a little bit of your time commitment for the free short trainings that go over XYZ pain. These need to be specific to the pain that you found out while setting the prospect onto the actual call. I don't recommend sending, like 4 or 5 guys. Send 3. One can be a case study. One can be a general resource that pre-handles objection. One can be a resource specific to their pain point. Because if you send more, a lot of the times people just get overwhelmed and they basically have like analysis paralysis where they're like, which link, which resource should I watch? And then they just don't consume all of them, or they consume less resources than they would if they were less overwhelmed. You can also use consistency bias when you book someone in, right? So this is right after booking them. Here's a message you can send. This works really well. It just depends on your niche, because sometimes you can be a little bit more direct with this message, sometimes a little less. So you can say, don't be one of those people that fills out a slot on our calendar but never shows up and wastes everyone's time. If anything comes up, really appreciate it if you let me know prior so we can reschedule. You're telling them, don't be that person, right, who booked a call, who was consistent with booking this call with us, and then just doesn't show up. No one wants to be that one guy, right? No one wants to be that one person who does this and then just wastes everyone's time. Now, also another thing you can do if you're sending sales assets, if you do have closers, always do this. Put the closer with your prospect into an actual WhatsApp chat or a messenger conversation. So a group chat, a 3-way group chat, right? So it's a prospect, you as a founder, and a closer. What this does is a few things. Number one, the setters can role play as closers if you don't want to waste your closers' time, or if you're, you want to specifically push your closers on calls and not have them chatting and doing texting with prospects. Setters can take on this role from like a closer's account or from like a dummy number that is like the closer's number. What this does is it creates familiarity in the prospect's mind with the closer. It makes them associate the closer with you. So now they're not seeing that closer for the first time in their life or hearing from that closer for the first time in their life when they jump onto the call. They already know that person, right? The last thing this does is it gives us another venue for follow-up. So you have the actual group chat on WhatsApp, if that's something you use, to follow up with the prospects and potentially send them more resources, or the closer can send them more resources through that WhatsApp chat, which gives you another touch point to follow up with the prospect before the call. And the more touch points, the better. Guys, as you can see, I'm straight up giving you things that actually work right now, as in, like, they're gonna work if you implement them today. And by the way, if you want to learn and implement more new tactics that aren't outdated and actually work in the current market, join the school below. We're about to hit 100 people in there. And in there, we teach these things that never actually make it to the YouTube channel because they stay on the private live calls. So the 24-hour follow-up, it's not going to be actually about the call, because again, we're not trying to annoy the prospects. We're trying to have an engaging follow-up sequence that people don't actually get annoyed by and they don't hate. So this follow-up is going to be about the actual resources and the trainings that you provided to the prospect. They will obviously remember the call as a byproduct after you ask them about the resources. This doesn't annoy people because you're not asking them, are you making X time on whatever day, right? You're actually asking them if they need, or if they have any questions, if they need any help in regards to the free trainings you sent them, which makes you look more as someone who actually is trying to help them instead of trying to sell them. If they don't reply 36 hours later, email, phone call, double dial, right? So have a phone setter or have a hybrid setter, or even do it yourself, right? Call the actual prospect.
This breaks the pattern. People are used to text messages. People are used to emails. When they get a call and they pick up, it's a lot harder for them to get off the phone and just hang up on you after you've built so much rapport actually booking them onto the call. You also have WhatsApp, and if they don't pick up the phone calls, you can do a voicemail drop if you're using Go High Level, HubSpot, or any other CRM. Now, for the 36-hour follow-up, you're also going to follow up about the resources one more time. So again, you're looking like someone who's trying to help, not sell. Any questions or feedback name, right? And you can add about the trainings or about the name of the training. Or you can just do a shorter question. So it's just a short question to prompt a reply. 60 hours later, you have an email, a phone call. Again, this is if they ghost, right? WhatsApp, so in the WhatsApp group chat with your closer, if that's a possibility for you. No pickup, again, you do a voicemail drop. With a 60-hour follow-up, you actually follow up about the call itself. So this is where the resource follow-ups end, and you're following up about the call because the call is in 12 hours, right? This is a 72-hour follow-up sequence. And by the way, if your follow-ups take longer, if you're booking people for 5 days out, which I don't suggest, you can just kind of repeat these steps. You can repeat these steps to have a longer frequency. Even if they replied, after 36 hours, usually this 4-hour and 27-minute prior follow-up is pretty crucial. This is where it's a little bit more salesy, but we want people to show up, so we're following up about the call. So, hey, first name, hope you're doing well. I'm preparing for a call here in a bit. Are you still making it today? 27 minutes prior. This doesn't matter if they did reply or they didn't reply to this follow-up. You're still going to send this message. Just wrapping up a call here with someone who's struggling a little bit. Sometimes people need a little bit more help, but for now, we should still be good for a current time. Speak soon. So this message, number one, it reminds them that their call is in, a few minutes. It's in 20, 25 minutes. If you're not sure how to book calls, you're not booking enough calls, your booking percentage low, there's another video completely free on the channel on how to increase your booking percentage and how we've managed to maintain a 24 up to 25% booking rate for the past few months here. You can go click that. I'll probably link it in the description. Now, another creative way that works really well for us that I really haven't seen anyone on the market mention before actually requires a little bit of physical action from the prospect. So what you can do when you book someone in is literally ask them to set an alarm, a physical alarm on their phone, or put the call in their calendar. So this just serves as that last wall of protection. And when we set people onto calls, when we're setting people onto these calls, we're very serious about this. So when it's a text setter, we literally ask them if they've done it yet, right? So after we send this message, and tell them, this is a big ask, but could you please set an alarm for your call or put in your calendar to 100% make sure that you will be able to make it on day and time? Could you do that for me now, name? After we send this, we make sure they actually say, yes, I've just set an alarm and confirm that they actually have done this physical action. Same thing with phone setters. Phone setters will literally sit on the line with them until we know that they did set an alarm and they put the call in their calendar if it's a consumer who doesn't really normally use their calendar. Now, this is the entire process from the actual proposition of the call and the positioning of the call to the actual follow-ups and some creative ways of actually getting people onto calls. Now, if you don't want to build out this entire process, but you still want to hit an 80% show up rate guaranteed, book a call with me below. You can also join the school. We're about to cross 100 members, as I said. It's just $5 a month, and we do funnels and sales optimization calls every day about things like this and everything systems related when it comes to scaling your info business or your agency.